Hi, everyone. I'm Colleen. Welcome back to another live stream brought to you by the awesome people over at Princess Dental Staffing. So happy everyone could be here with me today on this Wednesday. So today's topic, we are sharing with you five resume tips for dental hygienist resumes that you need to know. I know when you go to sit down and write your resume, it's a daunting task, right? It's just, there's so much I have to update. I haven't included my last position. I haven't even included updated education. It's just really overwhelming. I get it. If it wasn't overwhelming, I wouldn't have a job. So I totally understand that. But today we're going to be sharing with you some tips that will hopefully kind of make it easier and give you some insight on what to focus on when you go to update and write your resume for your dental hygienist position. Okay. But before we get into those tips, just want to remind everyone that each week we are bringing you a new topic that discusses your career in the dental industry every week on Wednesdays. Okay. So if you like the content that we're bringing you, be sure to drop us a like. If you have any questions, thoughts, insights on the information that we're bringing you, be sure to comment below. And if we couldn't get to your comment when this stream was live, of course, we will do our absolute best to get to it as soon as possible. Okay. Now, if you like the information that we're bringing you each week, be sure to follow our page or subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on future streams. And if you want more information on the topics that we're bringing you, be sure to check out princessdentalstaffing.com, where you can take a look at Princess Dental Staffing's blog. Additionally, while you're on Princess Dental Staffing, which princessdentalstaffing.com is an online dental job search board. Okay, so you can absolutely go on there and start searching for jobs. They offer full-time, part-time, temporary positions, and temporary and permanent positions is what I meant to say, for, front office, dental assistants, dentists, and yes, even dental hygienists as well, in a variety of different areas. So you can hop on there and start searching for jobs available in your area. You can also create a profile and get your information in front of decision makers as well and make your information searchable as well. Okay, so lots of things you can do on princessdentalstaffing.com. Be sure to check it out. So let's go ahead and dive into today's topic. Again, we're sharing five resume tips for dental hygienist resumes. Okay, firstly, include all of the languages that you speak. So if you are bilingual, multilingual, go ahead and include those languages. So a lot of, depending on location in the United States, where the where the practice is or where the office is located, they may prefer or even require fluency in another language. Generally, in the United States, it's going to be Spanish, right? But depending on the area, it might also be French. It might also be Italian. It might also be Chinese. These are some very large languages these are some languages that are spoken very largely in certain parts of the United States. So maybe required to speak those as well, or have fluency in those as well, or preferred qualifications. Sometimes it's preferred that you're bilingual in a certain language, okay? Or just generally, a lot of times I see a lot of job postings as well, they say bilingual preferred, okay, in order to cover multiple bases, okay? Even if it's not a requirement, preferred, or minimum requirement to apply for the position, go ahead and list them anyway. It's always a good idea to demonstrate how you take the time to be able to connect with patients, okay? And speaking their native language is a great way to show that you can connect with their patients and make a great impression on behalf of the practice or the office, okay? Additionally, sometimes they might forget to put it in, or they might think, I've had a lot of hiring managers say, well, they're probably not going to have that experience. I don't really want to waste my time searching for it because probably not going to find anyone with this specific skill or attribute. And I say, you know what, go ahead and put it on there anyway, but some of them, they just decide to forego it. So, they might not have included on there that they're looking for a specific language, so go ahead and include it anyway, okay? Alrighty, so that's tip number one. Tip number two, include the applicant tracking system buzzword. So we've talked about ATS before on previous streams. So if you're new to this stream, let me go ahead and define it for you kind of briefly, okay? But an ATS is an applicant tracking system. It's a system that most companies use. Actually, I just looked up a statistic the other day. 98% of companies out there use some form of ATS, of applicant tracking system. So a lot of companies use this system to track their open positions and the applications for those positions, okay? Also, it's worth noting there are about 200 plus different ATSs on the market, okay? So there's a lot of different ones out there. They all work very differently. But one of the features available with these ATSs is called Job Scan. Okay, basically, Job Scan is a feature that scans your resume and the job posting, and based on the incidence of keywords and phrases in both of those documents, it's going to determine how well you fit the criteria for this role. Okay, so, you know, and it's worth noting that even if a company has an ATS, they're not necessarily using Job Scan, but it is something that is growing in popularity. So it's a really good idea to take those buzzwords from the job posting and integrate them into your resume or your application, okay? So that it gives you a better chance of moving through the application process. Because if they are using Job Scan as a major part of their application process, your resume may never actually get in front of a person. It may only be processed by a computer, and then the computer says, nope, sorry, try again next time. We're not going to move forward with you, okay? So it's always a good idea to include applicant tracking buzzwords, keywords, and phrases all throughout your resume to, like I said, just to enhance the chances that you move through the application process and you get that interview, okay? So some examples of dental buzzwords include patient relationship building, chairside performance, accurate diagnosis and treatment of periodontal disease. So those are definitely common ones that you'll want to consider including in your dental hygienist resume. Okay, so my recommendation has always been, like, you know, I do get clients who are like, okay, I understand that I got to tailor my resume and that I got to include these keywords and phrases and why they're important. So how do I do that? I always shoot for, like, if you've made your list of keywords and phrases that you see in the job posting, I shoot for mentioning each one of those twice in the resume, okay? If you mention them twice, the specific term, so if it's chairside performance or chairside manner, you'll want to use whichever one is specifically mentioned directly in the job posting twice in your resume, okay? That's what you want to shoot for, and that's usually a pretty safe bet. Okay, being able to speak more languages would be super valuable, to be honest. Hold on downloading Duolingo, right? I've used Duolingo. I know the OWL. Yeah, absolutely. Rosetta Stone, I know that one too. I'm still working on my Spanish. I'm not that good at it, but I'm trying. Yeah, so being able to speak more than one language is a really great skill to have, if for no other reason then it shows initiative, okay? And it also shows that you're capable, you use a lot of mental processes and stretch your mental horizons in order to learn another language. So even if it's not a preferred qualification, or even if it's not a qualification at all, it's always a great thing to include because it just shows a lot of skill, okay? So yeah, absolutely. Okay, so tip number 3, talk about the newest technology that you have worked with. Always make sure that your resume is updated with, the most up-to-date technology that you know how to use, okay? So this could be a few different things, okay? So let's talk about some examples. Firstly, Dent Simulator, okay? So this is a training tool, as I understand it, augmented reality to help train dental personnel. So if you have experience with it, or if you're familiar with it, you can absolutely list it on your resume. It's an updated technology. If you're familiar, now I've had some clients before where they say, oh yeah, I know that system or that technology or whatever, but I don't really want to list it on my resume because I'm not that familiar with it. I recommend that you list it on your resume anyway. And if you don't want it to seem as though you are just, an expert in this particular technology, go ahead and put your proficiency level in parentheses. So if, for example, DentSim Simulator, if you're familiar with it, but not really, it's like you kind of touched on it a little bit, you can always put DentSim, parentheses, beginner or something, or intermediate, or what have you. Okay, but that way it gets on your resume, and they at least know that you're kind of familiar with it. When it comes, that can actually, really help bump your resume up to the top of the list, that you even know what it is, because depending on the applicant pool, maybe no one else knows what it is. And that's a plus in your favor. Another thing another skill that is rising in popularity is teledentistry, right? The COVID crisis has definitely forced us to rethink how we continue our work in an economy where most people are trying to stay home and trying to stay safe. Teledentistry is definitely one of those solutions that has come forward. So if you have experience in that, that's a great thing to include in your resume as well. And newest technology doesn't necessarily have to be, COVID related or computer related. It could be, dental equipment that you've recently learned, or, gotten certifications in, or those sorts of things. Okay, so really any sort of updated technology or techniques, or systems, or anything like that, always a good idea to put on your resume. And again, if you're like, I'm not that great in it, you can always include your level of proficiency in parentheses. Okay, just so you're being clear, but you're still able to include it on your resume. Okay. All right. Number 4, formatting of your resume. So we've also gone over this in several different previous streams as well, the different formats of your resume. So just kind of a brief reminder, brief overview. There are 3 main ones. There are definitely other resume formats that we can talk about, but 3 main ones that most people talk about: reverse chronological, sometimes just called chronological, functional resume, and combination. Okay. Generally, you want to stick to reverse chronological, especially if you have direct experience as a dental hygienist. Okay, that's going to be the best format for you. That's the one that's most easily processed by applicant tracking systems. Okay, most easily parsed, most easily scanned, and all those sorts of things. Okay, so that's generally the one you want to go with. Functional style resumes are recommended for someone who has absolutely zero experience or zero education in a specific field. That's likely not going to be used. So you can use it if you want to, but again, reverse chronological is probably the best option. And a combination style format, which combination is just kind of laissez-faire, whatever you kind of want it to be. Usually takes elements from both functional style and reverse chronological style. So it can be anything in between. Okay. But reverse chronological style, if you're applying online to a lot of different job sites, you're likely applying to an ATS, which means reverse chronological is going to be best for you. But whichever style that you choose, be sure to be consistent with your formatting. Be sure to, again, use those keywords and phrases, those buzzwords from the job posting, okay? And make sure that you keep your resume, simple, clean, and, mostly black and white, essentially. You know what I mean? Just easy to read, and just have a nice flow. Make sure you're using your headers correctly as well, okay? So you want to make sure that your resume, it doesn't have to be flashy. You don't have to have all these different graphics and infographics and weird fonts and everything like that in order for your resume to be considered effective in getting you callbacks for interviews. Okay, doesn't have to be flashy. Generally, the best resumes are simple, they're clean, black and white, and they have a good use of headers. Okay, and they have like a, like I said, they stick with their formats, and they have a logical flow to them. Okay, so if you want more information on these individual styles, you want a little bit more in-depth information, be sure to check out How to Have Your Dental Hygienist Resume Stand Out blog post or previous stream. Okay, and we'll go into that a little bit more in depth, those different formats as well. Up to date is big now. I think it always seems like new things are coming out all the time. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of funny. When it comes to the dental industry, medical industry, advancements are happening all the time. Same thing with my industry, resume writing. New things and updated ways to write your resume, information to include, and ways to format it are happening all of the time. Okay, so just like you want to keep your skills updated for your dental career, you also want to keep your resume updated. And it's really, you want to treat it like a document. I know a lot of us don't think about your resume until it's time to search for a job. But if you make efforts to keep it updated with the most recent techniques, information, and yes, technology, it really will help you when you finally do decide to start searching for jobs. You can just hit the ground running. Yep. Alrighty. And tip number 5, lastly, take it step by step. Take it slowly. I know the thought of writing your resume and a cover letter, oh my goodness, that is a lot, right? It can be overwhelming. Totally understand that. But it's crucial that you kind of take it step by step. So, just like with any other project, and we've actually talked about this in previous streams, we've done like time management or organizational skills. If it's a daunting task, break it down into smaller pieces. Okay. And that's the best way to do it. So, when you go to write your resume, it's like, it's just so much. I don't have time to do this. This is going to take me hours. Start piece by piece. Okay. Start by making sure that your contact information is updated. Start by, updating or writing your introduction, okay, your objective or your resume summary, whichever one you choose to go with, those sorts of things. So just break it up into smaller pieces, okay? With your cover letter, go paragraph by paragraph. Eventually, you're going to get it done, okay? Now, so there are multiple ways you can go about it. The best way to go about, any task, whether it's resume writing or what have you, is what works best for you. You know you better than anyone. And when you are facing a large task that can seem overwhelming, you know how you react best. So, if it is breaking up in smaller pieces, or if it is just devoting time to go start to finish, do whatever it is that you need to do. Okay. If you want to if you know that you want to go linearly and start from the top and work all the way down, that's fine. If you want to skip around in different pieces, that's fine too. Whatever works best for you. Okay. But once you are done with your revisions, your edits, your updates, make sure that you read through your resume verbatim at least twice to make sure that everything is accurate, everything's up to date, that you've got spelling and grammar scored away and all those different things. Okay. Alrighty. Additionally, when it comes to updating your resume, essentially take your time, take it step by step as much as possible, but make sure that you're maximizing the quality of your resume. Again, read it through twice to make sure that you've got all those items squared away and that it makes sense and that it flows nicely and that it accurately represents all of the skills, knowledge, skills, abilities, and expertise that you have to offer a potential employer. Okay. Update as it happens is always good. Makes it a lot less stressful than trying to play catch up. Yeah, absolutely, Drew. Absolutely. And I know we don't really think about it, right? We're like, oh, the resume did its job. We have a job, and we're fine. And then 5 years down the road, time to get another one, and you haven't updated it in 5 years. So it's not something that we think about very often, but definitely every so often, maybe once a year, just go back and try to update your resume. Okay. And that way you don't have to scramble at last minute, especially if, unfortunately, you were unfortunately one of those people that got laid off during COVID, and you don't have to scramble at the last minute. Okay. All right. Okay. So those are our tips for you. So let's go over them again briefly. Number 1, include all the languages that you speak. Okay. Number 2, include buzzwords, keywords, phrases, in order to appease the ATS gods, right? Number 3, talk about the newest technology that you have worked with. Make sure it's all that information is updated. It doesn't just have to be computer applications and systems. It could be dental equipment and new techniques as well, and training. Number 4, formatting your resume. Choose the format and make sure you stick to it, okay? And make sure that it's easily readable. Again, you don't need a lot of different graphics and fonts or colors or anything like that. Don't have to do that. Just make sure that that the content speaks to your expertise. And number 5, take it step by step. If it's overwhelming, break it up into smaller pieces, get one thing done, check it off your list, go on to the next one, and work the best way that you know how. If you need to skip around, if you need to go from top to bottom, do what you need to do. If you want to do the cover letter first, go ahead and do that. Okay? Step by step. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay. All right. So those are our tips for you today regarding your updating and or creating your dental hygienist resume. So if you have any of the thoughts, questions, insights on any of the information that we brought you today, be sure to comment below and we will definitely get to it as soon as possible. But thanks for joining me today on this Wednesday. I hope everyone is continuing to stay safe out there, and we will see you next week, next Wednesday. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. We will see you soon. Okay, bye.